Joining us now on the Toms River Volkswagen Sports Hotline, Frank Bassett joins us. You can check out the Golf Talk America over at pgatour.com/podcasts. Frank, how you doing on this Saturday morning?
I'm doing good. It's wet. The patrons are wet, but I'll tell you the golf course can be as dry as a desert if they want it to be at Augusta with that sub-air system. So the wet's not going to affect the play as much today. Might soften the greens, but the patrons are going to be the wet ones, not the players.
Really quick, explain to people about that system, because I was watching on TV them talk about it last night, and at first it almost sounds like almost like advanced physics or something, but it's actually really impressive what they've done with the course.
It absolutely is, and the PGA Tour has done it a lot out there too. TPC Sawgrass has that same system. And it's a system that basically is a vacuum. It's under all the fairways and the greens, and they can, if it gets wet, they can suck the water right out of it and push it out into the creek. So they can maintain speeds and firmness or softness of the greens and fairways by virtue of that system. So it makes it fair for everybody. If you go off in the morning and it's soaking wet, well, they adjust the course accordingly. So, yes, it makes it very fair for competition.
Looking at the top of the leaderboard, right now it's Patrick Reed at -9 and Mark Leishman at -7. Okay, Frank, can you tell us who on earth is Patrick Reed?
Well, Patrick Reed's a former Augusta State University golfer, and he has rounds this year of 69 and 66. He's five-time PGA Tour winner, U.S. Ryder Cup standout, and he's one heck of a good player. One of the things that's interesting is that no one has ever shot 4 rounds in the 60s and won this tournament, ever. Nobody. Patrick Reed has 2 rounds in the 60s, and if he can pull it off today, he might go all the way.
When you look at this leaderboard right now, because behind Reed and Leishman, you got Henrik Stenson, Jordan Spieth, Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas, Dustin Johnson, 2-time winner Bubba Watson. These are all guys that chomping on the heels of Reed and Leishman. What are you expecting from the next 2 days? Because we know, Bubba's been here and done that. We know Rory and Spieth, they're so talented. Stenson is one of those guys, when he gets on a roll, he is just hitting fairway after fairway consistently. What is it about the guys who are on the heels of the leaders that makes this such a tenuous situation for the leaders?
Well, these guys have all faced the test. They've all been there. Probably the greatest Open championship, I think, in my lifetime was Stenson and Mickelson battling it out. Stenson's one to look at because, he's never liked this course. He's never played well here, and he's in his 40s. He's seeking to become the 7th player in his 40s to win a Masters behind Jack Nicklaus, Ben Crenshaw, Gary Player, Sam Snead, Mark O'Meara, and Ben Hogan. So I'd really watch Stenson. He's sharp. He's slick. Jordan Spieth, Rory McIlroy, of course, would make this the lifetime Grand Slam. Jordan Spieth's not somebody to be played with. Jordan is hungry, wants it, and after the debacle in 2016, Jordan's ready to come back too. You have everybody's up there. It's anybody's tournament this week, and it's going to be probably one of the more exciting final rounds that we've ever seen in Masters history. I predict it.
Coming into this, I was looking a lot at Bubba Watson, not just because he's a 2-time champion, but he's been playing well this year. He's won a couple tournaments. He's been striking the ball very well. What is it about Bubba's game that allows him to do so well at the Masters?
Well, Bubba's a left-hander, and this course, sets up perfectly for left-handers outside of the fact that poor Phil Mickelson is 4 over after 4 this morning, and he's at 9 over par. Maybe I need to quantify that. This course sets up very well this week for Bubba Watson. And Bubba is a shot shaper, and that's what this golf course demands. He's a Picasso on the golf course, or maybe a Salvador Dali, I would say, because some of the stuff he does is so far removed from normalcy that it's absolutely incredible. Bubba also is back now on the golf ball that he could work and play. He was playing a ball, and I won't say names, but he was playing a ball for a period of time he couldn't work it as well. He's back on the right ball, and he's playing fabulously, and did some really special things with caddy for a cure that touched everybody's heart this week too. So Bubba Watson is a heartfelt favorite of a lot of people.
We're talking with Frank Bassett today on the Toms River Volkswagen Sports Hotline. Check out the Golf Talk America over at pgatour.com/podcasts. Frank, also looking down this leaderboard, who's a guy, maybe they're not within a couple shots, but who's a guy maybe lower down the board that you think people need to watch out for heading through Saturday and Sunday?
Well, Ricky Fowler at 2 under par is goes without saying. Bubba Watson at 2 under par goes without saying. Matt Kuchar's 1 under par. If Matt Kuchar gets hot, he can really, really, really play. I think at even par now, you're just playing for respect. But some of those guys, with Reed, Leishman, Stenson, McIlroy, Spieth, Johnson, Thomas, Tony Finau, who is a phenom, if you will, after what he did in the par 3 when he hurt himself. Any man who does that and pops his ankle back in like that, it sort of reminded me of Joe Theismann Light when he had the compound fracture when he was playing football. So Tony Finau's a guy to watch for. Tony's a great player and a great person, and looks more like a linebacker than a golfer.
We mentioned Rory McIlroy a couple times. We know that he is in pursuit of the Masters for a while now. What is the key for him to keep playing consistently and keep climbing the boards? Because it seems like there are times where he's teeing off and he's hitting the ball and he looks as sharp as ever, and other times he looks like he's almost like wavering in confidence.
Well, it's going to be the putting. If he can just stay consistent with his putting, McIlroy has one of the best swings, best balance, best ball strikers in the game. But his putting is going to be his nemesis, and putting is at a premiere here at Augusta National. If you can't putt, pack up and go home, because it just won't happen for him. But yeah, that's enough said about that. It's just the putting for him, truly.
I'd be remiss if I didn't touch on Tiger Woods. Right now, he's at +6 on the board, +2 on the day after 4 holes. What have you seen from him? Do you think that he is maybe like another year away from really being able to do it? Because I feel like when I look at him as kind of like an old baseball pitcher, a guy who maybe used to throw really well, and he has the ability to reach back and get the fastball every once in a while, but it's just not consistently there.
Well, you say that, but I would have to disagree a little bit with that, because Tiger's ball speed right now, or swing speed, is 129. That's higher than he's ever been. At his prime, he was 125. With that fused back, he's working it differently. He's learned to temper his body such that he can play as well as anybody on the PGA Tour. I think the consistency is going to come with Tiger the more reps he gets, and I really believe that we're going to see Tiger Woods win again, and we're going to see him win fairly quickly. I think he'll win this year.
What has been his struggle at the Masters this week?
He's spraying the ball. He's put it in the water a couple of times on the par 3s, and his short game really was spot on. I mean, at Bay Hill and Valspar. But, that driver has always been his nemesis. If you spray the ball, and he did. I watched him on the practice range before his first round. He was striping it perfectly. Pretty high fade, a pretty low draw, gorgeous shots. He walks out to number 1 and hooks it over the patrons through, over hill and dale, if you will. And I was like, where did that come from? And it's just taking that swing that Tiger is so good at repping on the practice range and moving it to the first tee. That's critical for Tiger Woods.
We're talking with Frank Bassett here on the Toms River Volkswagen Sports Hotline. You can check out Golf Talk America at pgatour.com/podcast. Frank, if I had to nail you down right now, who do you think is going to be at the top at the end of the day on Sunday?
Well, I think the last two will be Tiger and Phil because they're right there at the bottom. I've got to tell you, he's been there before and fallen off. But at 4 under par, McIlroy's really got to put the pressure down. If Patrick Reed can hold on, and he's done it before, I'm just going to have to go with Patrick Reed at 9 under par. If he continues to play with the confidence that he has and the cockiness that he has, which I like, I love it. I think you may see Patrick Reed donning a green jacket come Sunday afternoon.
First-time winner right there. Frank, I really appreciate you joining us here on 97.3 ESPN. I hope you stay down, dry out there, and enjoy the golf.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, and appreciate it.